Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and it is time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everyone. Time for the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I let you know what I thought about them. But first things first, I gotta say thank you to David Hatch. David Hatch is one of our Patreon supporters, and homie, this is your shout out. I know him personally. He's a great dude, really cool and nifty, loves old D&D stuff, and he has really decent taste in comic books, I would say. So David, thank you for everything. There's your shout out, and let's move on. And we always start with the pick of the week. And this week's pick of the week, Defenders number 3. Defenders has been amazing. It's been brilliant. It's been really, really good. This is like the Brian Michael Bendis of old. Brian Michael Bendis is the writer, and he has written these characters, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, who he created, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist many times before, and it's always worked very well under Bendis's direction. And it just this is amazing. Bendis's stuff has been maybe watered down a little bit, not as good as it used to be. It doesn't have as much of an impact as a creator as he used to, maybe. That can be argued. But this is really, really good. If you like Brian Michael Bendis' work at all, on any level, you're going to love this stuff. It is amazing. And David Marquez's artwork is so clean, tight, perfect. It's so perfect. Everything, the placement of everything from the panels to the characters and figures in those panels, the background, the sense of space that it gives you that flows through the comic. It's amazing. Add in Justin Ponsor as the color artist, and it just knocks it out of the park. This guy's choices of his colors it's amazing. They're brilliant. They're bright. The way they contrast with each other. This, all in all, Defenders is just a perfectly executed superhero comic book. You know, Netflix show tie-in and all that stuff aside, yeah, that's not the Defenders I grew up and knew and loved. It doesn't matter. This book is solid and is shaping up to be one of Marvel's best books. Issue 3 was better than 1 and 2, and that's rare, and we shall see what happens. But I'll also tell you this. As awesome as this is, the distillation of what makes Bendis work as a writer is all in here, at least as a superhero comic book writer, right? It is all in here without all the wacky Bendis-y stuff that most people don't like. All that's gone. It's like an evolution of Bendis in this book. It's amazing. It's so good. Speaking of Bendis, Spider-Man 2 is finally here, 5 years later. So Spider-Man, the first one, is when Miles Morales first met Peter Parker. Of course, at the time, Miles lived in the Ultimate Universe. And Peter, of course, in the 616. Now Miles lives in the same universe as Peter. Peter apparently does remember that. That's all in here, whatever. So at the end of the first Spider-Man series, Peter looks up who the Miles Morales of 616 is, and he looks in shock and dismay. Now they're going to reveal what that exactly is. This issue starts that story, doesn't tell you anything yet, but it does give you some enticing hints and clues. But overall, this was a really, really good book. Sarah Pichelli does the artwork. Amazing job. Justin Ponsor, once again, on the coloring. This book is fun. If you like Miles, if you like Peter, if you like the Spider-Man stuff, you're gonna like it. It's good. If you liked the first Spider-Man, you're gonna like this one as well. It references the first Spider-Man. It all happened. It's all in here, laid out. It was a good, fun, simple, solid comic book. So Bendis had some really good books this week from Marvel. Edge of Venomverse number 2. It's a Venom version of Gwenpool. And I love you guys so much that I read it, so I could tell you guys what I thought, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. And in fact, now, knowing a little bit more about the full concept of Gwenpool, she's like 5% more interesting to me, but I didn't really like this all that much. It was all right. It was cutesy. I don't want my Venom stories to be cutesy, but I guess that's the point of Gwenpool. It was decent. If you like Gwenpool, if you're just a super Venom nut, you're going to like this book. If you're just collecting it to try to get the next Spider-Gwen, well, you might want to get this book as well. But it was all right. Not going to be for everybody. I can't really recommend it, but a lot of people might like this book. But it's all right. It's all right. Speaking of Venom, Venom number 152. So I'm reading Venom again now because Eddie Brock is back, and I'm super cool with that. I think it's awesome, and that's awesome. That's great. Way to go. This book's not my favorite. I loved 150 with Tradmore on the artwork, especially. It was gorgeous. Sandoval's artwork is not quite for me, though there are times in here where I thought his Venom looked good, and then like 2 panels later, I was like, that Venom looks goofy. So the artwork is very up and down, inconsistent for me. The writing is okay, it's serviceable, it's doable, it's okay. It's nothing like super crazy or nothing, and I don't know. Venom's gone through a lot of crazy stuff in the course of his history as a character, especially even in the early days with Eddie Brock. Lots of crazy stories in those days. So I can't judge it too harshly on just the absurdness of this story, but it is cool to have an appearance by Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So I'm going to keep reading this for now, just because I'm a Venom nut. So that's why. Amazing Spider-Man number 30. It's the second Secret Empire tie-in in Amazing Spider-Man, where he faces off against the Superior Octopus. This basically follows what Parker does right after Steve lifts the hammer and defeats all the heroes. What, in Washington was it, I think? But this right after that, and Octavius is taking over Parker Industries, and this issue does a lull a little bit. There's a lot of exposition, a lot of like set up for the ending, which was awesome. It was a great ending. Stuart Immonen on the artwork is fantastic. He's one of the best Spider-Man artists we've had in a good long while. I want to see him on this book for the foreseeable future, even if they do the swap where Slott ends and Spencer begins. I would love to see him stay on this book as the artist. But overall, I love the Spider-Man stuff, and I think this is great. And fans of Superior Spider-Man, you're going to definitely want to read this. It's really fun. Octavius is back in a modified clone body of Peter, and he's now the Superior Octopus, and it's just as cool as you think it is. Absolutely. Old Man Logan number 26, Ed Brisson, I don't know, is now the writer here, taking over from Jeff Lemire. This is his second issue. First issue, I was kind of disappointed that they're once again going back to kind of stuff from the Mark Millar, Steve McNiven, Old Man Logan. But this issue I thought was a lot better. It was really cool, and some really good Mike Deodato art. I don't always like Deodato, but this was one of those issues where I really, really liked him. This story is intriguing, and it's fun, and it was groovy. I liked it. Very wordy, a little verbose, but overall, it was doable. It was workable. It was actually really, really fun. So Old Man Logan, 2 issues in, and it's got my seal of approval. Same cat is writing Iron Fist. I don't really like Iron Fist, but Old Man Logan's pretty good. Black Panther and the Crew number 4 is another exciting chapter in this cool mystery about the death of this guy, Ezra. It's really awesome. It focuses in on a lot of the black superheroes of the Marvel Universe, including Luke Cage. And Luke Cage and Misty Knight get spotlighted in here, and it's really, really cool. I like it a lot. Ta-Nehisi Coates is joined by a co-writer who is Yona Harvey. Butch Geist's artwork, it's solid. It's a good, solid book. If you've been enjoying Black Panther stuff, or if you're just a fan of, say, Luke Cage and Misty Knight, Storm, you might want to check this book out. It's actually really, really good. It's only going to be 6 issues, but it's a cool murder mystery. It really kind of speaks on a lot of issues, and I kind of like that. I dig it a lot. XMen Blue number 7 is a Secret Empire tie-in. I've loved XMen Blue. I think it's the best X-Men book right now. Like, I really do. Way better than X-Men Gold, in my opinion. The last issue was really, really bad. This issue, even though Molina's not back on the artwork, we got Smith. Is that the same dude? Corey Smith? I don't know if it's the same dude as last time, but this was way better than the last issue. The story was better. The artwork was better. Everything moved a lot briskly. It was fun. It was fun, and that's what I expect out of this book. Plus, I want to say this. Ultimate Wolverine's son, Jimmy, in this book, got a really cool costume now. I'm going to say that debuts, I think, in this book. I don't think we've seen it before, but if we have or not, I think it's awesome, really cool. This focuses on what the all-new X-Men are doing in, in Steve Rogers' Hydra America right now. So there's a new place in San Francisco in that area where now the mutants are there. They're kind of like on their own land, doing their own thing, separate from the Hydra thing. They're being left alone, whatever. There's this delicate imbalance that's being held right there between these, these two opposing forces, the mutants and Hydra, Steve's Hydra, right? And this, basically, they're kind of still doing freedom fighter type stuff in there. So even in the little land of the mutants, they are still being heroes and going against the grain and being kind of cool freedom fighter superheroes, and it's really, really fun. I like this book. I'm really starting to become attached to these characters, for sure. A lot of other X-Men characters get spotlighted in here, and that's always a pleasure, always a joy to see. And something clicked in my head. So we know that there's Zorn, right? Zorn's the ruler of New Tian, which is where the mutants are right now. And I just had this crazy idea in my head. I'm not spoiling anything here. This is just something I thought about. That's Xavier. What if that's Xavier? What if Xavier is the big hero that's supposed to return, like right at Marvel Legacy or whatever, you know? And maybe it could just be what happened in the last Secret Empire, could be what they're talking about. But I don't know. I think it could be time to bring back Xavier, and maybe he's just sitting there pretending to be Zorn. I'm going to say that now in case it happens, and then I can say, hey guys, I said it, see? Generation X #4. This book's up and down. The artwork is cool sometimes. Sometimes it's cool in its awkwardness, right? And other times it's just not. Sometimes it doesn't work. This is one of those issues where it really leans more to the does not work aspect of the artwork world, right? Story-wise, it's still good. It's pretty cool. It sets up a lot of interesting stuff that's going to happen, and apparently Jubilee is still a vampire. I thought she wasn't anymore, but she still is. This book is okay. It's losing some of its glitter. It's losing some of its bedazzlement as the issues progress. Just a little bit. Not enough to keep me completely disinterested in this book, because I really do like Jubilee and Quentin Quire. I wasn't the hugest Generation X guy back in the day, but if you were a Generation X fan back in the day, there's a lot of references to stuff from those days that I think is going to blow up coming very, very soon. So I'm going to keep reading this for the time being. Hulk, #8, who, by the way, first trade paperback of this came out today. I'll throw a link down below. It's called Deconstructed. Oddly enough, the book is called Hulk. The trade paperback is called She-Hulk. I guess over time, if they ever bring another Hulk book back with another Hulk or whatever, I guess they don't want to have it be confusing. Anyway, Hulk has been a really, really fun book dealing with post-traumatic stress and dealing with trauma and how that changes people. And it's changed Jennifer Walters. She's now a more savage Hulk, where at first she was scared of becoming the Hulk, and maybe now they're going to lead us into a space where she might be scared of enjoying it a little too much. So she's doing like the detective superhero-y thing in here, and now using the Hulk instead of just trying to hide from it. It's a really cool take on the She-Hulk story, and I really have just thought that this was an amazing book so far. Art on here, though, the regular artist is gone for these last couple of issues. This person's artwork, it's all right. It's all right. There's some really off perspective in a panel or so. If you read this book, you'll see it. Like, Jennifer looks like a giant. It's weird, but, you know, draw better than I do. But Hulk is a really good, solid book. You should totally be checking it out if you haven't already. Weapon X #5 continues. Weapons of Mutant Destruction. It's actually part 3, crossover between Totally Awesome Hulk and Weapon X. It's the fun slam bang action movie of the X-Men universe. It's fun, it's good, it's doable. This is the weakest issue so far of this whole story, because nothing really happens. I mean, I guess something happens, but not a lot happens. But it's all right, and it's a part of the story, you know. But maybe the story should have been 2 issues lighter. I don't know. But overall, the idea of that we could see a Hulk Wolverine cyborg hybrid, that's just cool. And Robbie, the other Robbie, Robbie from Earth 2, totally, man, that chromium cover, why did they miss out on that? They totally got to do that. Star Wars Darth Vader #3, I almost didn't pick this one up because I was like, you know, it's all right. It's like Darth Vader Year 1, how he makes his lightsaber. I'm not really that interested. I'm glad I picked it up because this book was awesome. It's the best issue of it yet. Really cool, fun Vader stuff, and the Jedi that he's going after is badass, and it's a really cool fight scene, and it was just a really fun, good, solid comic book. On to DC. A big one from DC with a cool, new, shiny cover. See, Marvel missed out on that chromium cover thing. DC's got it for us, right? Dark Days, the casting. It's the second prelude leading to Dark Knight's Metal. So the first one, The Forge, came out last month. It blew me away because I didn't realize the scope of what was going to be happening in Metal, right? So once we realized the scope, it just blew me away. This one really explains everything. It just lays it all out, and this is the last prelude. Next month, Dark Knight's Metal comes out, and we will have it. So this was not as good as the first one because it really just kind of like explained a lot of the stuff that kind of, when they blew us away, but it was still good. John Romita Jr. does not do a good Wonder Woman, in my opinion, in this. Absolutely, I will just say. But it's interesting. Duke is more important than we ever realized. And there's some interesting tidbits going on in here and the fun Joker stuff. But another thing that was really crazy about the last one is we all thought that the Joker revelation was going to somehow tie into the 3 Joker thing. But that's not the case. That's going to be Jeff Johns. He's doing that. Maybe he'll be doing that in Doomsday Clock. I don't know. We shall see. But this was good. Don't miss out. Like, it's not going to blow you away like the first one did, but it's good and it explains everything very efficiently, though it is very, very wordy and exposition-y, and it will bog you down on that. It's very light on some of its action. However, it does set everything up very nicely for Metal, and I'm very pumped for Metal, and now I understand why they're all versions of Dark Batman. Now you get it. It's interesting stuff that's going on there that they're laying out. Detective Comics 960, speaking of Batman, this book has been amazing. It's been my favorite Batman book. It's the Bat Family book. This intelligence story is dealing with the Order of St. Dumas and Azrael, and that's awesome. And there's this side little bit with Satana and Bruce Wayne, revealing a little bit of their history. And Bruce is trying to learn a lot. He's trying to use forbidden magics to unlock secrets, even some of the secrets involved in this. So there's a nice little shout out to Dark Days in Detective Comics. But this book has been fun. I enjoy it. I love it. I think it's so cool. Just read Detective Comics. Seriously, it's really good. Flash number 26. This has been doing a weird story with Flash. So in the button, Reverse Flash comes back and he gets killed by Dr. Manhattan. That's crazy. Then they immediately bring him back, and then he has this new twist on his origin of why he became the Reverse Flash, and it's because Barry kind of dissed him, and it makes him less of a threat. I don't know, to me, but he reestablishes himself as a threat in here. But Howard Porter, the artist, does some really good, solid work in here. The best work I've seen from him in a few years. Really good. I like him on Flash. Carmine DiGiandomenico, the normal artist, is amazing. Porter, though, is really good. They got two completely different styles, but both work for the Flash. Joshua Williamson does a really good script. You see some a possible future for Barry and Iris, and then what happens at the end, it's interesting. It's very interesting. We will talk about that later. Action Comics 983 continues this revenge story, and I've loved this story so far. I've been loving Action Comics. It's just giant 90s Superman explosive awesomeness is what it is. And this new Superman Revenge Squad, led by Cyborg Superman, and it's got Zod and the Eradicator and Mongol and Blank and Metallo. It's the best Superman Revenge Squad ever. It's super cool, and this issue really shows you why General Zod is really, really crazily awesome. Like, for real, Zod just tears through stuff in this, and it's amazing. Superman has his peeps. All the other super family come in and try to help him out. It's got a really cool, intriguing ending. We shall see where it goes. The artwork is from the guy that does New Superman. It's not the best. It's like a poor man's Greg Capullo, but it's not bad. It's solid. It's really great about Zod's just slam bang awesome in this issue. And what's up with his facial hair? I think that's kind of cool. I wonder if I should try that. I don't think I should. Wonder Woman number 26, Greg Rucka is gone. Shea Fontana is now on as a little fill-in story leading into the James Robinson has been announced as the new writer on Wonder Woman. We shall see what happens there. This didn't really impress me much, especially coming off of Greg Rucka's run, which I found exceptional. I really liked it. This just felt kind of eh. I didn't really like the art. The story was just it didn't really feel like a Wonder Woman comic. I haven't always read Wonder Woman comics, and this felt like the kind of Wonder Woman comics I typically don't read. Like a lot of the 90s stuff, for sure, actually. I don't know. We shall see what happens. It's just fill-in story, so if you're collecting this book, don't give up. James Robinson might be doing something. It's not bad, but it's just not Rucka. So that's really, really sad. DC Young Animal fans, Bug. The Adventures of Forager number 3 from the Allreds. This book is Kirby-tastic, and very, very fun. I love this book. It's super fun. It's got some really funny little jokes in this issue in particular. But Mike Allred is an incredible artist and very retro, totally fits in with the world of Kirby. This stuff is amazing. I really, really like it. It's good. It's fun. It's wacky. It's weird. It's what you expect from DC Young Animal. Absolutely. Let's get into some of the other publishers. IDW, Dread Gods, number 1. Art by Tom Rainey. Remember him from back in the day? Mutant X, especially, great stuff. Also did some Stormwatch stuff with Warren Ellis, if you remember. And written by Ron Kyle Rayner Mars. His middle name's not Kyle Rayner, but he invented Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern. So Ron Mars was a big deal back in the day. He got death threats all the time, actually, for this stuff. There was, what was it? Some kind of, what's it called? Heat, H-E-A-T. It was like some kind of like group of like fans that like band together and like just made it their mission to like hate on Ron Mars, sent him hate mail and all kinds of stuff because he killed Hal Jordan, right? But whatever, or because he made Hal Jordan Parallax. But anyway, Dread Gods is an interesting little story. It's about this world where everything's kind of crappy, and the people just go and they plug into these like big towers in the middle of the city if they're lucky enough to get a chance, and they plug it directly into them. They go into this world where Prometheus is telling them the story of the gods, and I guess they get to experience it. It's weird. It's okay. It's not really good artwork from Tom Rainey, not as good as some of the stuff from back in the day especially, but it's all right, I guess. Ron Mars' script is tight. It reads nice. The dialogue's great, but it's just nothing really engaging about it, and I don't like it. It deals with a lot of Greek gods, and I don't like their representations of those gods, just personally. It's just a personal thing. So I'm not coming back for that one. It was all right. And plus, that's Zeus right there, but he looks like Goro. Doesn't he look like Goro from Mortal Kombat? Skin and Earth, #1 from Dynamite Comics by Lights, the musician, right? She's a musician, right? Yeah, she is. I read this. I don't know. At first, I was interested. I was like, oh, this is kind of like a neat little sci-fi world, and then nothing happened. Nothing happened. First issue, nothing happened. I don't know if Lights has really ever done a comic book or anything before. First issues are important. There was no hook for me in this issue. Didn't really do anything for me. What did do a little bit for me was Centipede #1 from, was it Dynamite, right? Yeah, Dynamite and Atari Comics. So these Atari comics are going to be starting to come out. Centipede's the second one. Sword Quest was the first one. Sword Quest blew me away. It was way different than I thought it would be, and I just thought it was really good, and I've loved it so far. 2 issues in, with the 0 issue and the 1 issue. Centipede, written by Max Bemis from the band Say Anything, and also did an awesome comic book called Polarity, and a few others as well. Centipede is an interesting take. First of all, Francisco Francavilla's cover is awesome. It's worth it for that alone. It's not the best issue. It's an interesting take on the story of Centipede, and it has the possibility of being cool, but he kind of breaks the fourth wall in here, but they do have an explanation for it in story, but that kind of was annoying to me. It kind of took me out of the issue a lot. The ending was kind of cool. I don't know. It's basically about one man who's alone on this planet because the centipede has killed everybody else. So it's about one man in his last stand for his planet against the giant centipede. And I don't know. I don't know why they went with just the lone man on the planet. That's just a little weird. I don't know. This doesn't seem like there could be too much action. Seems like a giant space centipede would just kill that dude quick. I don't know. Maybe it's only a 2-issue series. And finally, Mighty Mouse #2. Mighty Mouse was actually really fun in the first issue, and issue 2 was really fun as well. It was completely not what I was expecting. I was expecting something kind of like what American Mythology's doing with, Pink Panther and Rocky and Bullwinkle and Underdog and whatnot. And they're doing some fun stuff over there. But this Mighty Mouse thing is something completely different. Focuses on a kid in the real world who is bullied and doesn't have a lot of self-esteem, and he loves Mighty Mouse cartoons, and then one day Mighty Mouse pops out of the TV and ta-da! He's in the real world. So this is him kind of like learning the real world stuff. So it's got a lot of the familiar tropes from things like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, whatnot like that. Lots of that kind of stuff. You can't, you people die in the real world and all that kind of stuff. But it is fun, and it's got heart, and I really like it so far. And what happens at the end of here, you're like, oh yeah, it's a typical cliche story. But it's Mighty Mouse and it's kind of fun. So that's what I thought about what I read this week. Let me know down below what you thought about what you read this week. Did you love Defenders as much as I did? Did you think Dark Days, the casting was good? It was all right. It was pretty much just, though, a bridge between the awesome what and then hopefully the awesome metal. So we shall see, but let me know down below what you read, what you thought about it. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Do check us out at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And check us out on Patreon, where you can unlock exclusive content and first access to future videos. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us, and keep on reading.